an update on this thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think Sean is going to probably hit on some of that after we get a little bit more information over the next day or so. But it's just opportunity, right? Opportunity for guys to step up if they need to, and we'll get a good look at a few guys to be able to do that. Hopefully, we can kind of have a better idea of Van's situation over the next couple of days here. But it's just an opportunity for other guys to step up.
One of those guys could be 2-2 out. Well, what have you seen?
A guy that obviously can stretch the field vertically right now, right? He's a guy that elite speed. Can track the football, does a great job catching the football away from his body, for a smaller guy. Really does a nice job as a hands catcher, and hopefully somebody that can continue to grow in this offense.
How's Logan Bus going so far?
Yeah, Logan's a guy continuing to develop, right? I mean, he just got here, obviously not so long ago, and, just putting him in a position to be successful playing and play out. And sometimes when you have to match up against one of the best players in the world or ever to do it, sometimes it can get a little difficult downs. But he's doing a great job continuing to grow, learn. Carbs and Nick Jones do a phenomenal job in there. So, his growth and development, I think, will just continue to grow.
Liam, do you ever, from like the hair to the way he plays every receiver position, do you ever forget that Ben Skoranek is only year 2?
Yeah, you kind of do, to be honest with you. I mean, really, even when I first met Ben, he doesn't have that year 2 vibe. He's the type of guy that a lot of the coaches trust, in both offensively and on the special teams unit. So definitely a guy that we can rely on. We know he can line up and play multiple different positions. So Ben's going to continue to grow and hopefully make some of those plays and continue to gain Matthew's trust.
And then just to follow up on that, Sean sort of alluded yesterday in the difference between doing extra work just to do extra work and doing intentional extra work for these young guys. What does that look like to you?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when you get that extra work, you're really working off day 1 install. You're really going with the base vanilla formations, motions, plays, concepts. But just trying to stretch these guys a little bit more above the neck with maybe some different formations, motions, and shifts, as I just mentioned, to put a little bit more stress on them above the neck and see what they can do in terms of just getting lined up.
Coach, how concerned are you with the wide receiver depth with Van nursing an injury now, and the guys behind haven't played a whole lot?
I don't think it's concern. I mean, Sean talked to staff and just talking to us as a group is this is why we coach, right? This is why you get into it, and this is why they pay us to put our guys in positions to make plays and be successful. And I think that's ultimately the goal of coaching in terms of the X's and O's, the scheme, the personnel. I mean, that's kind of why we do this, right? So I think it's more so a great opportunity for us to kind of get creative in different ways that we can put guys in positions to help our offense.
Because of that, do you want to stress these guys early just to kind of see what they can do?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been kind of doing that actually with the second, when we 2-spot our jog throughs, I mean, we're really kind of putting an emphasis on the above the neck stuff. So I think they have been being stressed in terms of some of those jog through settings. And now, hey, some of those other guys, how can we stress them in the live settings as well?
Liam with the Hopkins, and he had a big run through the playoffs and Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Is he more of a complete tight end this series?
Yeah, he's really come along the last few days. Actually, had a nice couple conversions on third downs, and he's the type of guy that, hey, you get him going vertical and he can double up on somebody. He's got some really good quick twitch at the top of his routes and can separate. So hopefully his growth continues, and Thomas is doing a phenomenal job with him so far in this off season. So really happy with Bryson right now.
When we talked to Cam Akers, he was saying how great it felt just to be out there after this last training camp. What did you see from him?
Man, just his focus level, just continuing to just play in and play out beyond the screws. And you could see it really from the first rep of this training camp. You saw a really focused Cam Akers and a guy that is obviously determined to be healthy and do all the right things. He's been in and out in the training room all the time, just doing all the right things, both on and off the field right now. So really excited to see him once it gets live.
There's a lot of excitement around Allen Robinson and about that. He's a cerebral player. He can use it anywhere. Are there specific usages, whether that's red zone or downs, or you put him on the same side as the other?
Yeah, I think like kind of what you just mentioned is that's the goal, right? It's just kind of try to move those guys around to put them in advantageous, matchups for us, right? And whether that's on the same side, opposite sides, utilizing him in the high red or low red areas, I do think that we can create matchups with Allen. He definitely gives us some creative ways to do things differently in some ways, and really activate some of Matthew's strengths as well. But absolutely, he gives us a ton of flexibility to do those things.
What about Cam and Darryl as a combination?
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's something that it could come at some point, right? I mean, in terms of when you're looking at your personnel and trying to get, your best 11 on the grass, who knows? But, it's something that right now we're still kind of early on in this offense right now, installation-wise, and really trying to hone in on some of the details of truly playing the position. And, hey, what do these guys do best right now?
Right.
They're different backs, right? So for the time being, we haven't probably gotten to that point, but it's like, hey, what can we do to really accentuate both of these guys' skill sets when they are on the field?
Right, that's what I didn't
Totally,
mean to
yeah.
find them at the same time,
Yeah,
but
I think
as
just
a
finding
one-two
those.
punch or being
Yeah.
able to alter.
I think that was been a part of our plan this whole time, right? I think that that's a great opportunity for us to see what those guys do well in terms of their different skill sets, both in the run game and in the pass game. So that's definitely something we've been really looking at over the last week.
When Allen came in, it was, everyone knows him for like the giant catch radius, and when he moves out there,
Yeah.
it seems like his lower body stays so quiet.
Totally, yeah.
What do you see in that regard from him as he patterns?
Yeah, he's so grounded, right? Like there's just no wasted movements at the top of his route, like you just mentioned. So you don't ever put yourself in a position as an athlete, to really have false steps, and it's what makes Cooper so great in terms of the way he moves. So to have two guys that move very similar in some ways at the top, and Allen to be so big and still be able to do those things, like you mentioned, yeah, you just naturally think he's going to be a fade and all those kind of things, but no, he's got the whole tree, kind of like I mentioned in the spring, and the way that he moves is really, gives him that ability.
Talking with Coach Zach Robinson yesterday, he said he's kind of like a bigger Robert Woods. He does a lot of the same
Totally.
things. Do you see comparisons?
Yeah, there's a lot of comparisons, and Robert was absolutely one of my favorites to ever work with, and his mentality, his work ethic, kind of that dog that he gets into when he gets into competitive situations. Allen has some of those similarities, right? He's not just a guy that's out there catching balls and doesn't want to mix it up. And when we get into competitive spots in practice, you can see a little bit of a different look in his eye, which is great to see.
Couple more, guys.
Jake, yeah, I mean, Jake's been doing all the right things, in terms of a guy that can really help us out, on special teams. He's got great hands. He's got a really good grasp of the protections, and we trust him to put him in some situations that we might need him to, kind of spell those guys in. So Jake's been steady, really doing a nice job for us, but we can trust him in the play pass game, protections, do all those kind of things, screen game, all those things he's been really good at.
You guys have been expanding, you entering as well.
Yeah.
They have been expanding this offense since Matthew got to town, and I'm kind of wondering if you could take us inside a little bit when you add a guy like Allen, what that does for you specifically as a designer. Not a play caller necessarily, but as a designer.
Totally. It's a balance of making sure these guys not only get the routes that they need to get, that we make sure that we need to hit for the install, but also trying to envision what are we actually going to call? What are we going to use? There's an installation process, which is a teaching progression. But there's also like, hey, let's not waste reps and waste routes on guys that aren't going to use those or run those routes in a game. So I think that the creativity part is trying to make sure that Allen gets the work and the reps that we can envision him doing September 8th. Not necessarily always for right now. So that's a great, kind of question to be able to say, hey, look, let's make sure he gets these touches on these routes, and if he doesn't get those, we need to tally that and make sure he gets it throughout the week. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah.